The galaxy had known peace for a very long time. For centuries, different species lived together in harmony under the guidance of a united federation. Trade flourished, technology advanced, and cultures mixed freely. It was an age of prosperity that many thought would last forever. But then, something changed. Something dark emerged from the farthest edges of the galaxy, shattering the calm like a storm tearing through a quiet sky. It began with whispers. Strange reports came from the outer rim. Planets going silent, colonies disappearing without a trace. At first, no one paid much attention. The outer rim was vast and often dangerous, full of pirates and uncharted territories. But as more systems fell into darkness, fear spread like wildfire. Ships sent to investigate never returned. Entire star systems were wiped clean, their resources drained and populations enslaved. The culprit behind this terror became known as Krasor. Krasor was not just one being. He led an army of biomechanical ships unlike anything anyone had ever seen. These ships seemed alive, pulsing with energy and shifting shapes mid-battle. They could adapt instantly to any weapon used against them, making them nearly unstoppable. Krasor himself was a towering figure clad in black armor, his voice cold and commanding. He demanded submission from every world he encountered, and those who resisted were obliterated without mercy. Commander Daniel Hayes watched all of this unfold from his post on Epsilon 7, a human outpost near the edge of Federation space. Daniel was a man of quiet determination, respected by his peers, but haunted by doubts about whether humanity was ready for what lay ahead. Every day brought new updates about Krasor's advance, each one worse than the last. Planets that had once been vibrant hubs of activity were now empty husks, their people either dead or taken away to serve Krasor's growing empire. Daniel spent hours staring at the stars through the outpost's observation deck, wondering how long it would take for Krasor to reach Earth. Humanity had worked hard to build its place among the stars, carving out colonies and forging alliances with other species. All of that progress felt fragile now, like a house of cards waiting to collapse. The Federation tried to fight back, sending fleets to slow Krasor's advance, but none returned. Their weapons were useless against the biomechanical monstrosities, and their strategies crumbled under Krasor's relentless assaults. Back on Earth, panic began to set in. News outlets broadcast images of burning planets and fleeing refugees, sparking outrage and despair. Governments argued over what to do next, while civilians prepared for the worst. Some packed up and left their homes, hoping to find safety in remote corners of the galaxy. Others stayed put, praying for a miracle. Daniel knew better than to rely on hope alone. He had seen too many battles go wrong because leaders underestimated their enemies. Krasor wasn't just another warlord. He was a force of nature, a predator hunting for prey. One evening, as Daniel reviewed the latest intel reports, he received a message from Earth's High Command. They'd wanted him to prepare for evacuation, saying that Krasor's forces were closing in fast. But Daniel hesitated. Evacuating meant abandoning Epsilon 7, leaving it vulnerable to capture. If Krasor took control of the outpost, he'd gain access to valuable data about Earth's defenses. Staying behind was risky, but it might buy humanity some much-needed time. As he weighed his options, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Krasor's reign of terror had already reshaped the galaxy, turning thriving worlds into lifeless wastelands. Yet deep down, Daniel believed that humanity still had a chance, if they could find a way to strike back. Somewhere out there, hidden among the stars, was a spark of hope, and Daniel swore to himself that he wouldn't rest until he found it. The United Earth Council gathered in a dimly lit chamber, their faces pale with worry. The room buzzed with tension as leaders from across the planet debated what to do next. Krasor's forces were getting closer every day, and Earth's defenses were crumbling. Most of the fleet had been destroyed or scattered during earlier battles, leaving humanity nearly defenseless. Some council members argued for surrender, believing it might save lives. Others insisted on fighting back, even if it meant certain death. Amid the chaos, One name kept coming up: the Solace *. The Solace * was a prototype warship unlike anything humanity had ever built. Sleek and powerful, it combined cutting-edge technology with experimental weapon systems. Its engines were faster than any other ship in existence, and its armor could withstand attacks that would destroy older vessels. But the Solace * had never been tested in real combat. It was still docked at a secret facility, waiting for the right moment to launch. Many doubted it could make a difference against Crazer's overwhelming forces. Still, it was the only option left. Captain Emily Dawson stood quietly in the corner of the room, listening to the arguments. She was a tall woman with sharp features and a calm demeanor, known for her ability to think clearly under pressure. Emily had spent years commanding smaller ships on dangerous missions, earning a reputation for bravery and clever tactics. When the council finally turned to her, asking if she believed the Solace * could succeed, she didn't hesitate. "It's our best chance," she said firmly. "If we don't try, we'll lose everything." Her confidence convinced the council to move forward, though not everyone agreed. Some grumbled about risking such an important asset on a suicide mission. Despite the criticism, Emily wasted no time assembling her crew. She chose people she trusted, each skilled in their own way. Lieutenant Ryan Cole, a young engineer with a knack for fixing anything, joined as the ship's chief technician. Dr. Laura Bennett, a soft-spoken xenobiologist, came aboard to study Crazer's biomechanical technology. Together, they formed a small but capable team ready to face whatever lay ahead. Preparations moved quickly. Supplies were loaded onto the Solace *, and final checks were made to ensure the ship was ready for battle. As the launch date approached, Emily called her crew together for a briefing. Standing in the ship's command center, she looked at each of them in turn. "This isn't just about saving Earth," she said. "It's about showing Crazer and the rest of the galaxy that humanity won't back down. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and probably outmatched. But we have something he doesn't: heart." The words struck a chord with the crew, easing some of their fears. That night, as the Solace * prepared to leave the safety of its hidden dock, Emily stood alone on the observation deck. She stared out at the stars, thinking about the enormity of the task ahead. Crazer's forces were vast, and his biomechanical ships seemed unstoppable. Yet Emily refused to let doubt creep in. She reminded herself why she had accepted this mission: to protect her home, her people, and the future of humanity. When the countdown reached 0, the Solace * roared to life. Its engines hummed with power as it broke free from the facility and soared into the void. The crew watched silently as Earth grew smaller behind them, replaced by the endless expanse of space. They knew the odds were against them, but none of them hesitated. Each person aboard the Solace * carried the weight of billions on their shoulders, and they were determined to see the mission through. As the ship entered the outer rim, where Crazer's influence was strongest, Emily activated the cloaking device. The Solace * vanished from sight, becoming a ghost drifting among the stars. For now, they were safe, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before they encountered the enemy. And when that moment came, they would need all their courage and a little luck to survive. The journey into the outer rim was long and tense. The crew of the Solace * spent their days preparing for the battles ahead, running drills and checking every system on the ship. Nights were quieter, but no one slept well. Each star they passed brought them closer to Crazer's territory, and the weight of their mission hung heavy in the air. Captain Emily Dawson kept a close eye on her team, making sure everyone stayed focused. She knew fear could spread quickly if left unchecked, so she made a point to talk to each crew member, offering words of encouragement whenever she could. As the Solace * moved deeper into enemy space, the signs of destruction became impossible to ignore. They passed derelict ships floating silently in the void, their hulls torn apart by Crazer's forces. Some still carried the remains of their crews, frozen in time. Laura Bennett, the ship's xenobiologist, studied these wrecks through the sensors, her face pale as she pieced together what had happened. They didn't stand a chance, she murmured during one briefing. Crazer's ships are faster, stronger, and smarter. If we're not careful, we'll end up like them. Emily nodded, her expression grim. We can't let that happen, she said firmly. We have the advantage of surprise. As long as we stay hidden and pick our fights carefully, we might actually stand a chance. Their first major discovery came when they entered a star system that had once been home to a thriving colony. Now, it was a graveyard. The planet below was barren, its surface scarred by massive craters and stripped of resources. Strange, pulsating towers dotted the landscape, glowing faintly in the dim light. Ryan Cole, the ship's engineer, studied the readings from the surface. Those aren't natural, he said, pointing to the towers on the screen. They're part of Crazer's tech. He must have built them to drain the planet's energy. Laura leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. It's worse than that, she said softly. Look at the structure. They're organic. These things are alive. Her voice carried a note of dread. Crazer isn't just using machines. His entire fleet is part living organism, part machine. That's why they're so hard to fight. The revelation sent a chill through the room. If Crazer's ships were alive, then traditional weapons wouldn't work against them. They would need to find a new way to fight back. Emily thought for a moment before speaking. We'll keep studying this, she said. Every piece of information helps. But we can't stay here too long. If Crazer finds us, we're done. The crew agreed and prepared to leave the system. As the Solace pulled away, they spotted something else. A group of refugees drifting in an old cargo vessel. The ship was badly damaged, its engine sputtering. Emily ordered the Solace to approach cautiously, unsure if it was a trap. When they hailed the vessel, a weak voice crackled over the comms. Please, help us. Emily decided to take the risk. The refugees were brought aboard, exhausted and starving. They told harrowing stories of Crazer's attacks, how his ships descended without warning, destroying everything in their path. One man, clutching a tattered photo of his family, looked at Emily with tears in his eyes. You're our only hope, he whispered. If you fail, there's nothing left. The words hit hard. Emily thanked the refugees and promised to do everything she could. After giving them food and medical care, she sent them on their way in a repaired shuttle, pointing them toward a safe zone far from Crazer's reach. Watching the shuttle disappear into the stars, Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. It was about every life Crazer had ruined and every world he had destroyed. As the Solace continued its journey, the crew noticed something strange on the scanners. A faint signal coming from deep within Crazer's territory. It was distorted and weak, almost like a distress call. Ryan frowned as he analyzed the data. Could be a trap, he warned. But it's also possible someone, or something, is trying to reach out. Emily considered the possibilities. Whatever the signal was, it might hold answers. And answers were exactly what they needed. Set a course, she said finally. Let's find out what's waiting for us. With that, the Solace turned toward the unknown, its crew steeling themselves for whatever lay ahead. The signal led the Solace to a gas giant, shrouded in deep crimson clouds, its atmosphere glowing faintly like a dying ember. The crew watched in silence as the massive planet loomed larger on the view screen. It was an eerie sight, beautiful yet menacing. Emily Dawson stood at the helm, her sharp eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger. So far, the only thing they had detected was the strange signal emanating from somewhere within the planet's orbit. Ryan Cole adjusted the sensors, trying to pinpoint its exact location. It's coming from one of the moons, he said finally, pointing to a small, jagged satellite circling the gas giant. There's some kind of structure there. Looks artificial. Emily nodded. Take us closer, but keep the cloaking device active. We don't know what we're walking into. As the Solus approached the moon, the structure came into view. It was a towering spire made of black metal, twisted and jagged like claws reaching toward the sky. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its surface, pulsing in rhythm with the signal. Laura Bennett leaned forward, studying the readings. This isn't just a building, she said quietly. It's part of Crazer's network, another piece of that biomechanical tech we saw earlier. But there's something else. What do you mean? Emily asked, her voice tense. I'm not sure yet, Laura admitted, but it feels wrong. Like it's alive, but also suffering. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared across the ship. Ryan's fingers flew over the console as he checked the sensors. We've got company, he announced grimly. Crazer's ships, they're incoming. The crew sprang into action. Emily gave quick, precise orders, her calm demeanor steadying the team. Raise shields and prepare weapons. Keep us cloaked until the last possible moment. The enemy fleet appeared moments later. 3 sleek, insect-like ships that seemed to shimmer as they moved. Their surfaces rippled unnaturally, confirming Laura's theory about their organic nature. They scanned the area, clearly searching for the source of the disturbance. For now, the Solus remained hidden, its cloaking device holding strong. But everyone knew it wouldn't last forever. We need to draw them away from the spire, Emily said. If that signal is important, we can't let them destroy it. Ryan nodded, already working on a plan. I can overload the reactor core remotely. It'll create a fake explosion near the edge of the moon. That should distract them. Do it, Emily ordered. Seconds later, a bright flash lit up the horizon as the decoy explosion went off. The enemy ships turned sharply, heading toward the blast. Seizing the opportunity, Emily activated the Solus engines and darted closer to the spire. Let's see what this thing is hiding, she muttered under her breath. When they reached the base of the structure, Laura analyzed the glowing symbols. It's a distress call, she said, her voice trembling slightly. But it's not meant for us. It's coming from inside the spire itself. Something, or someone, is trapped in there. Emily hesitated, weighing the risks. Time was running out. The enemy ships would realize the explosion was a trick soon enough. Finally, she made her decision. We go in. If there's a chance we can learn more about Crazer or his tech, we take it. The team boarded a shuttle and descended to the surface, landing near the spire's entrance. The air was thick and cold, carrying an odd metallic smell. As they stepped inside, the walls shifted subtly around them, as if the structure were alive and watching. Laura's scanner beeped rapidly, picking up traces of energy. This way, she said, leading the group deeper into the labyrinthine corridors. They eventually reached a large chamber at the heart of the spire. In the center stood a cocoon-like pod, pulsating faintly with light. Inside, they could see a shadowy figure, humanoid, but distorted and fused with machinery. Before anyone could react, the figure stirred, its glowing eyes snapping open. A low, pained voice echoed through the room. Help me. The crew froze, unsure of what to do next. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't entirely hostile, but it wasn't safe either. Emily tightened her grip on her weapon, her mind racing. This mission had just become far more complicated than anyone had anticipated. The figure in the cocoon-like pod stared at them, its glowing eyes flickering weakly. Its voice was strained, almost desperate. Help me, it repeated, softer this time. The crew of the Solus stood frozen, unsure how to respond. Laura Bennett stepped forward cautiously, her scanner held up to analyze the creature. It's part machine, she whispered, her voice trembling. But there's still something alive inside. It's not fully controlled by Crazer's tech. Emily Dawson raised a hand to stop Laura from getting too close. We don't know what it is, she said firmly. It could be a trap. Her instincts told her to leave immediately, but something about the creature's plea tugged at her. If it was truly trapped and suffering, they might be able to learn valuable information, or even turn it against Krasor. The figure seemed to sense their hesitation. "I am no ally of Krasor," it rasped, its voice clearer now. "He took me, fused me with this monstrosity. I was once like you, alive, free. Now I am his slave." Laura glanced at Emily, her expression conflicted. "If we can free it, we might gain an advantage," she said quietly. "But if we fail, it could turn on us." Emily nodded slowly. "We'll try, but everyone stays alert." Ryan Cole moved closer to examine the pod. "This thing is powered by some kind of energy core," he said, pointing to a pulsating orb embedded in the base of the structure. "If we disable it, we might be able to release whoever, or whatever, is inside." "Do it carefully," Emily warned. "We don't want to kill it before we know more." Ryan set to work, his hand steady despite the tension in the room. He used a small cutting tool to pry open a panel near the core, revealing a tangle of wires and circuits. As he worked, the creature in the pod began to thrash, its movements jerky and unnatural. "Hurry," Laura urged, taking a step back as the walls around them shifted slightly, as if reacting to the disturbance. Finally, Ryan disconnected the core. The pod's glow dimmed, and the cocoon split open with a hiss. The figure inside collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. It was humanoid but clearly altered. Metal plates covered parts of its body, and its limbs ended in sharp, claw-like appendages. Its face was scared and pale, with faint traces of humanity still visible beneath the mechanical enhancements. "Who are you?" Emily demanded, keeping her weapon trained on the figure. "My name is Eric," the creature replied, struggling to sit up. "I was a scientist, studying biomechanical fusion. Krasor captured me and forced me to help him build his army. When I refused, he turned me into this abomination." Laura knelt beside Eric, examining his injuries. "He's telling the truth," she said after a moment. "His biology matches human markers, but he's been heavily modified. We need to get him back to the ship and stabilize him." Emily hesitated, weighing the risks. Trusting Eric could be dangerous, but leaving him behind wasn't an option either. "All right," she said finally. "But if you betray us, I won't hesitate to end you." Eric nodded weakly. "I understand. You have my gratitude. For now." As they helped Eric to his feet, the ground beneath them trembled violently. Alarms blared from the shuttle outside. "They're back," Ryan shouted, rushing toward the exit. Sure enough, Krasor's ships had returned, realizing the explosion had been a decoction. Bright beams of energy lanced through the atmosphere, striking the spire. "We need to move," Emily ordered. The team sprinted back to the shuttle, dragging Eric with them. Behind them, the spire began to collapse, its walls crumbling as the enemy ships closed in. Once aboard the shuttle, Ryan piloted them away from the moon as fast as possible. The Solace**'s cloaking device was still active, giving them a slim chance of escape. As they re-entered the ship, Emily turned to Eric, who was lying on the floor, exhausted but conscious. "You've got one chance to prove yourself," she said. "Tell us everything you know about Krasor, and how to stop him." Eric met her gaze, his eyes filled with pain and determination. "Krasor isn't the real threat," he said softly. "He's just a pawn. The true enemy is far worse." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Whatever they had uncovered, it was only the beginning. Eric's words hung in the air like a dark cloud. "Krasor isn't the real threat," he repeated, his voice weak but urgent. "He's just a pawn. The true enemy is far worse." Emily Dawson stared at him, her mind racing. She had suspected Krasor wasn't acting alone, but hearing it confirmed sent a chill down her spine. "What do you mean?" she asked sharply. "Who, or what, is behind this?" Eric struggled to sit up, his mechanical limbs groaning with effort. Laura Bennett quickly helped steady him, her medical instincts kicking in despite her unease. "There's something controlling Krasor," Eric explained. "An ancient entity called the Voreth. It's a parasitic life form that consumes civilizations. It bonds with powerful beings, using them to expand its reach before moving on to new hosts." Laura frowned, processing the information. "So Krasor isn't in charge. He's being controlled by this thing." "Yes," Eric said, nodding painfully. "The Voreth feeds on fear and destruction. It manipulates its host into conquering worlds, draining their resources and populations until there's nothing left. Then it discards the host and finds another." Ryan Cole, who had been monitoring the ship's systems, turned to face the group. "If that's true, then killing Krasor won't stop the invasion. We'd need to take out the Voreth itself." Emily crossed her arms, thinking hard. "Where is it?" she asked. "Is it aboard Krasor's flagship?" Eric hesitated, as if reluctant to answer. Finally, he nodded. "Yes. The Voreth resides in a hive-like structure at the heart of Krasor's command ship. It's heavily guarded, and the entity is nearly indestructible. Even if you manage to reach it, destroying it won't be easy." Emily glanced at her crew. They were exhausted, battered, and outnumbered. Yet they had come too far to turn back now. "We'll find a way," she said firmly. "If we can sever the connection between Krasor and the Voreth, it might weaken his forces enough for us to fight back." The plan was risky, but they didn't have time to debate. Krasor's fleet was still hunting them, and the Solace couldn't stay cloaked forever. Using Eric's knowledge, they devised a strategy. Infiltrate Krasor's flagship, locate the Voreth, and plant explosives to destroy the hive. It was a suicide mission, but none of them flinched. They knew what was at stake. The infiltration began under cover of darkness. The Solace approached Krasor's fleet while maintaining its cloaking device, slipping past patrols undetected. A small team, Emily, Ryan, and Laura, boarded a shuttle and headed for the flagship, leaving Eric behind to recover. As they docked, the interior of the ship greeted them with a nightmare. Pulsating walls, shifting floors, and eerie organic noises echoing through the corridors. "This place is alive," Laura whispered, clutching her scanner tightly. "Every step we take could trigger an alarm." "Stay sharp," Emily ordered, gripping her weapon. "And stick together." They moved cautiously, avoiding patrols of biomechanical drones and dodging surveillance systems. Eric's intel proved invaluable. He had warned them about traps and hidden defenses, allowing them to navigate the labyrinthine ship. But the deeper they went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The air grew thick and cold, carrying a faint metallic taste. The walls seemed to pulse faster, as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. Finally, they reached the hive. It was a grotesque structure, resembling a massive nest made of fleshy tendrils and jagged metal. At its center sat Krasor, bound to the hive by thick, pulsating cables that burrowed into his armor. His head was bowed, his body twitching involuntarily. Surrounding him was the Voreth, a writhing mass of black tentacles and glowing red eyes. "He's not in control," Laura murmured, horrified. "He's completely enslaved." Emily tightened her grip on her weapon. "Let's end this." But as they prepared to act, Krasor's eyes snapped open. For a moment, he looked human again, broken and desperate. "Help me," he pleaded, his voice barely audible. Then the Voreth surged forward, and the battle began. The Voreth surged toward them, its tentacles lashing out with terrifying speed. Emily Dawson reacted instantly, firing her weapon at the writhing mass. The energy bolts struck the creature, causing it to recoil slightly, but it quickly recovered, its glowing red eyes locking onto her. "It's regenerating," Laura shouted, backing away as she scanned the entity. "We can't kill it like this." Ryan Cole grabbed a small device from his belt, a prototype explosive designed to disrupt biomechanical systems. We need to plant these charges directly on the hive. He yelled over the chaos. That might weaken it enough for us to destroy the core. Emily nodded, dodging another attack from the Vorith. Laura, cover Ryan while he sets the charges. I'll keep Krasor distracted. Krasor, still bound to the hive by thick cables, struggled against his restraints. His face was a mask of agony, torn between fighting the intruders and begging for help. "Free me," he roared, his voice cracking with desperation. "I can stop it. I can end this." Emily hesitated for a split second, unsure if she could trust him, but there was no time to debate. She fired a concentrated blast at the cables binding Krasor, severing one of them. The warlord stumbled forward, clutching his arm where the cable had been attached. Blood mixed with black ooze dripped from the wound, but he didn't falter. Instead, he turned to face the Vorith, snarling like a cornered animal. "You betrayed me." Krasor screamed at the writhing mass. "I served you. I gave you everything. And now you will die." With unexpected strength, Krasor charged at the Vorith, grabbing hold of one of its thrashing tentacles. The creature shrieked, a deafening sound that echoed through the chamber, and tried to pull away. Meanwhile, Ryan worked frantically to attach the explosives to the base of the hive. Laura stood guard, firing her weapon at any part of the Vorith that came too close. "Almost done," Ryan shouted, sweat dripping down his face. Just a few more seconds. The Vorith wasn't about to let them finish. It flung Krasor aside like a ragdoll, sending him crashing into a wall. Then it lunged at Ryan, its tentacles wrapping around his legs and pulling him toward its gaping maw. Laura fired wildly, trying to free him, but the creature's thick hide deflected most of her shots. "Emily," Ryan cried out, panic in his voice. Emily didn't hesitate. She sprinted toward the Vorith, leaping onto its back and driving her weapon into one of its glowing eyes. The creature screeched again, thrashing violently as it tried to throw her off. Using the distraction, Laura managed to shoot the tentacles holding Ryan, freeing him just in time. Together, they finished planting the last charge. "We're done," Ryan yelled. "Let's get out of here." But Krasor wasn't done yet. He staggered to his feet, bloodied and broken, but determined. "No," he growled, standing between them and the exit. "You've done enough. Leave me to finish this." "What are you talking about?" Emily demanded, lowering her weapon slightly. Krasor gave her a grim smile. "I know my fate. This thing used me, twisted me into something I'm not. If I don't stop it now, it will find another host, and the cycle will continue." Before anyone could argue, he activated a control panel near the hive, triggering a self-destruct sequence. Alarms blared, and the entire structure began to shake. "There's no time to argue," Krasor bellowed. "Go, save your people." Emily wanted to protest, but she knew they couldn't stay. Grabbing Ryan and Laura, she led them toward the exit, their footsteps pounding against the vibrating floor. Behind them, Krasor stood tall, facing the Vorith one final time. As the team reached the shuttle, an explosion rocked the flagship, lighting up the darkness of space. Back aboard the Solace Asterisk, they watched as Krasor's ship broke apart, consumed by fire and debris. No one spoke. They had won, but the cost weighed heavily on all of them. Krasor had sacrificed himself to ensure their escape, and perhaps redemption. "He saved us," Laura said softly, breaking the silence. In the end, he chose to do the right thing. Emily stared at the wreckage, her jaw clenched. "He did," she agreed, "and we'll honor his choice by making sure this never happens again." The Solace soared through the void, its engines humming with a steady rhythm as it carried its crew back toward Earth. The destruction of Krasor's flagship and the Vorith had scattered the enemy fleet, leaving them disorganized and leaderless. For the first time in months, there was a sense of calm, not just aboard the ship, but across the galaxy. News of their victory spread quickly, reaching even the most remote corners of human space. Refugees who had fled their homes began to return, and survivors started rebuilding what had been lost. Emily Dawson stood on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars. Her face was calm, but her thoughts were heavy. The mission had succeeded, but it hadn't come without sacrifice. Crazer's final act of defiance still lingered in her mind. He had been a monster, yes, but also a victim, a pawn of something far greater than himself. In the end, he had chosen redemption over domination, and that choice had saved countless lives. Emily couldn't help but wonder if she would have done the same in his place. Behind her, Ryan Cole and Laura Bennett joined her, their expressions thoughtful. "We did it," Ryan said quietly, breaking the silence. "Against all odds, we actually pulled it off." Laura nodded, though her smile was bittersweet. "It wasn't just us. Without Eric's intel and Crazer's sacrifice, we wouldn't have made it this far." Emily turned to look at them, her voice soft but firm. "None of this changes the fact that we're still vulnerable. Crazer and the Vorath may be gone, but there are other threats out there, things we don't even know about yet. We can't let our guard down." Ryan sighed, leaning against the railing. "So what's next? Do we go home and pretend everything's fine?" "No," Emily replied. "We use what we've learned. The technology we recovered from the Spire, the knowledge Eric shared, it's all valuable. If we study it, we might find ways to protect ourselves better in the future." Laura crossed her arms, her brow furrowing. "And what about the Federation? They fell apart when Crazer attacked. Do we trust them to rebuild?" Emily hesitated before answering. "We'll have to work with them, whether we like it or not. Humanity isn't strong enough to face these kinds of threats alone. But we'll push for changes, for stronger alliances, better defenses, and more transparency. This war taught us that isolation only makes us weaker." As they spoke, the Solace approached Earth's orbit. The blue-green planet came into view, its surface glowing softly in the sunlight. It was a sight none of them had taken for granted during their journey. Despite the scars left by Crazer's attacks, Earth remained a beacon of hope, a reminder of why they had fought so hard. When the ship docked, they were greeted as heroes. Crowds gathered to cheer their arrival, holding up signs and chanting their names. Among the crowd was Commander Daniel Hayes, who saluted Emily as she stepped off the ramp. "You did it," he said simply, his voice filled with pride. "You saved us." Emily returned the salute, though her expression remained serious. "We stopped one threat, but the galaxy is still dangerous. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." In the days that followed, the crew of the Solace worked tirelessly to share their findings with scientists and engineers. Eric, now recovering aboard a secure facility, became a key figure in understanding biomechanical fusion. His insights helped develop new technologies designed to counter similar threats in the future. Meanwhile, Emily and her team traveled across Earth and beyond, spreading the story of their mission and urging others to prepare for the challenges ahead. Though the scars of Crazer's reign would never fully fade, the galaxy began to heal. Slowly but surely, civilizations came together again, united by a shared goal: survival. And at the heart of it all was the crew of the Solace, ordinary people who had risen to meet extraordinary challenges. As Emily looked out at the stars one final time, she allowed herself a small smile. The road ahead would be long and uncertain, but for now, there was light at the end of the tunnel. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious.